Hi, I'm Erik Christian, Vice President of Corporate Strategy and Business Development at Hubbell. Today is the second episode in a new series we're calling Candid Conversations, where hopefully I'm having candid conversations, as the name suggests, with leaders in our organization and also leaders in the industry. We'll discuss everything from their careers, trends in the industry itself. We'll also talk about personal experiences. I think the first one was well received, and hopefully those that are following along are enjoying these. I've had the pleasure of working with our second guest for about 3 or 4 years now. And in that time, I've got to know him very well. We're with Mark Mikes, president of Hubbell Power Systems. Mark, great to have you on the program.
Hey, nice to be here, Erik.
Always fun to get together. These are interesting times to get together. Would love to start, Mark, talking maybe a little bit about your time at Hubbell, how long you've been at Hubbell, some of your roles. One of the things I think is so great about your journey is this long, successful career you've built here at Hubbell.
Sure. Been around for a long time, Erik. As you know, I joined Hubbell in 1989. So if you do the math, you're going to find out that's a little over 31 years. So a long, long time ago. And time flies, I will tell you that. You get busy, you get working, you have a lot of success that we've enjoyed. And before you know it, you've been here for 31 years. It's been very interesting. When I first joined the company, I'd worked for a couple of years for a different employer, and I was a degreed engineer. So I was working as an industrial engineer and decided, hey, I want to see what's out there. I really think my skills are best suited for leadership. So the best way to get some experience on leading people is go out and find a job that will allow me that opportunity. So from my perspective, I was looking for anything that would allow me to lead people. Hubbell, which is actually Ohio Brass, is the division I was working for at the time, was looking for a supervisor. And they happened to be looking for somebody in the engineering discipline to help them relay out their warehouse and put in systems to implement an MRP system. So it's kind of a good arrangement there. I got what I wanted and they got what they wanted. So my plan was to kind of stick around for a couple of years, get that experience and either prove myself and move up in the leadership ranks or move on. And 31 years later, I think you can decide for yourself how that worked out. So I've had anywhere from a floor supervisor job in the warehouse, then went on to take over what was called a business unit manager. We call those something different today, or at least the responsibilities are different. But I ran a troubled molding department that we had. From there, I moved to Ohio and was the plant manager for our MOV operation. Was there for a while and picked up product engineering responsibility for all of our insulators and arresters business. Then I came back to Aiken, South Carolina as the director of operations, then vice president for within Hubbell Power Systems, which meant different things at different times. I was vice president and had part of the businesses that we have today, same business we have today. Then another period of time, we went through an acquisition phase, and I spent 2 or 3 years trying to integrate 3 acquisitions at the same time. So that was really the role. And then on to division vice president of HPS and now president where I have the whole business and all the product lines. So a lot of rewarding opportunities along the way and a lot of good people to work with.
The way you lay that out, Mark, is so interesting to me. And I've actually heard Gerben Bacher say this as well. You know, you can be at one company for 31 years, and as long as it's the right company, the right fit, you can have so many different roles and many different experiences and responsibilities. And I'm sure that's been a really rewarding part of your career is, yes, you've had one Hubbell logo for 31 years, but, you know, a lot of different opportunities during that time.
Absolutely. A lot of different roles, a lot of different experiences. It's one of the great things about the company. If you're willing to work hard and apply yourself, and of course we have to be successful along the way, opportunities present themselves to expand your skill set and exposure to many different things.
Those that know you and I well, Mark, know that we're both big college football fans. We talk about college football often, both Big Ten guys, and weird and difficult times as we are taping this. Big Ten recently canceled college football due to COVID. And COVID is something we're highlighting in a number of these candid conversations with leaders at Hubbell because it's such a big part of the world today. And so I was curious how you think COVID's affected Hubbell Power Systems and how you think your team is doing managing through the uncertainty.
Well, first off, I'd like to respond to your Big Ten question. It's really been disruptive there in football. I had Purdue beating Alabama in the national championship after beating Penn State in the semifinal. So I'm really disappointed that really didn't get to play itself out. But from, how Power Systems kind of worked itself through or excelled during COVID-19, I would say actually Power Systems and Hubbell both excelled and continue to excel in the environment. To be honest with you, I'm really proud of what the organization has done, how we've responded, and better than I would have even imagined, quite honestly. They stayed abreast of all the, what the happenings, what's going on from the CDC, the World Health, and every other organization that had an opinion as this thing unfolded. I don't think anybody had all the answers, and certainly nobody had a playbook for this type of thing, so we kind of had to make it up as we go. And I think all of Hubbell has done a good job of doing that. We've looked at all those best practices that are out there and tried to share them with across the organization. And those are both internal and external because, at this point, if anybody's got a good idea, you want it, right? Because you want to protect yourself, protect your people, and ultimately protect the business as well. So, establishing those protocols for cleaning and social distancing and going from all of a sudden like overnight to work from home when we really weren't prepared for it. But in reality, went to it very smoothly by all measures. We've just done all kinds of things. It stepped up our communications, daily meetings in the early stages of this because it seemed like things were changing by the hour. And we had the only way you could keep up with it is get your team together and talk about what happened in the last 24 hours. What do we need to do as a result of that? So I think the corporation, Hubbell Power Systems has done particularly well. And one of the things that belongs in that conversation is the whole plan ahead initiative. So not only is the corporation thinking about how do we get through today, but what is the new normal going to look like and how do we need to position ourselves, decisions that we need to make, research that we need to conduct to figure out what we need to do to make sure our business is successful moving forward. So I think that's been really positive. And again, proud of the company for making those decisions and taking those steps.
It is amazing to see how much we can do together and how much can get done when everyone's communicating so well. Mark, anything as you're thinking back and reflecting on how the organization responded, anything you think you would have done maybe differently?
Thinking about that, I thought about that the other day. What could we do differently? I think it's one of the things I just complimented we did well, but we could do better. And I think it applies not only to the COVID situation, but in most things that we do. If you look at breakdowns and anything that kind of goes wrong, there's usually an element of communication or coordination involved. Somebody didn't have all the information, it wasn't shared or wasn't well understood. So while I give us high marks on communications throughout the process, I think there's one area that probably early on the coordination maybe could have been a tad better than it was. Again, not a criticism because I think we did a very fine job. It's just that one of those things in hindsight, you can look back and say, boy, I think we could have handled that a little bit better than we did.
That's true. As we pivot towards your vision and the markets that we serve and trends in our industry and how things continue to evolve, what are some of the trends you're identifying, that you're seeing, and where do you see the future for our business?
Well, certainly technology has advanced a tremendous amount over the 30 years, and that pace of change is in the past 6 months almost is just remarkable. And a lot of that's COVID driven. A lot of ideas out there that had to go from an idea stage into an implementation stage pretty quickly because of the environment that we had to operate in. This whole work from home, being able to connect and conduct things digitally, and transact business on the internet, deal with customers remotely versus showing up all the time and having to do it that way. Everybody's kind of had to learn a new way to interact, and it's going quite well. I see a lot of good things. It's not a replacement. So we're going to have to get our sales folks out there and our business people to engage in person. But I think there's going to be a big difference going forward forever as a result of that. It won't go back to the same way we used to do things.
One of the things I've noticed working from home, having so many friends and family and colleagues working from home, is how important utilities are and how even a 15-minute, 30-minute outage really can affect your productivity and many other more important things. And when we feel it, we feel those outages. And so our customers, the utilities, they do really heroic work at keeping the lights on. And I know Hubbell Power Systems is there to help them with solutions and products, keep those lights on. So just was wondering, Mark, what's your view on how the market is evolving, how important utilities continue to be, and our ability to help them solve their problems?
Yeah, you're right, Erik. I think we've all been spoiled a little bit, at least in this country. We expect the lights to turn on when we throw the switch, and many of the other utilities that we use that when we go to turn it on, it's there. And that's only going to be even more important moving forward, as so many things are tied in together and communicating together, and they can't do that without power. And so that power, that reliability is just going to be that much more important. And I think that just makes our place in the industry and the marketplace that we serve really a great place to be. You know, the utilities have kind of been criticized for being slow to change and don't move very fast. But I can tell you, over my 30 years career, it's a great place to be, because when we get into downturns and situations, everybody still needs electricity. They still need water. They still expect their telephones to work and be able to communicate. So it's a really great place to be able to handle these downturns and these things, because our business still continues to go. We're not immune, but we don't see the big swings that other people do.
As you think about your job, Mark, what do you like best about your job?
Well, the first thing I'll say is the easiest one, and that is the people I work with. I really like the people I work with. I like people from whether they're out on the plant floor or up in the corporate office. I just enjoy people working as a team to accomplish a common goal. So I like that a lot. I like the general management aspect of my role. Never the same day twice. A lot of times I come in, what I think I'm going to work on doesn't happen because some event's taken place, some other initiative or opportunity has appeared. And so it's pretty dynamic. I like that change. I like that difference. I like the strategic aspect of my role. I like to figure out how to beat the competition, how we're going to grow, what's going to come up and bite us next that we need to plan for, those types of things. I enjoy doing that. And then back to the people again. I like to, work with people, the folks that are earlier in their career, that I can help them along, share some of the things that I've learned along the way to help them advance and develop.
Having walked many plant floor with you over the last couple of years and seeing you talk to everyone and their names and their kids' names, when you work with people for years and decades, they're almost like family. And so as we pivot a little bit and think about family, you have 2 girls, and outside of work, you love spending time with your family. I know that. And you're also a bit of a basketball nut. So talk to us maybe, since we've spent so much time talking about what we do at work, talk a little bit about outside of work.
Well, I like to do a lot of things, Erik, as you know. Just like my work where I like a wide variety, I like to do a lot of things. Pretty much if it's sports related or outdoors related, somebody's keeping score, I'm in. So I like to play basketball, as you know. That's out until COVID is under control. That's not the thing you want to do. So tennis, golf, fishing, snow skiing, just about anything else that somebody wants to do, I would enjoy doing it.
What about travel? People listening to this podcast, I'm sure familiar with Hubbell, certainly a well-known brand and business in the United States. But actually, we have business all across the world. You have businesses and offices reporting to you spread all across the world. Miss traveling and jumping on a plane and being able to get to some of those offices?
That's a mixed answer, Erik, because that's got to be yes and no. It's nice to get out once in a while. Sometimes when you're on the road a lot, that can be a little bit tiresome. But I have had the opportunity to travel around the globe in a lot of different places, and, been responsible for China, being responsible for Brazil, and seeing customers in other parts of the world and suppliers. So it's been I look at that as a privilege to be able to do that, to get to experience other cultures, to see how other people live. And I look at that as a blessing and a privilege. Being on the road weeks on end, sometimes, again, can get old. So I am anxious, though, get a little bit of cabin fever going on to get out. And you and I are taking a trip here next week. It will be good to get out, spend a little face-to-face time with you and a couple of others, and conduct some business that we need to conduct. So that's my view on it. I'm
looking forward to that trip as well. And just wanted, Mark, as we're wrapping up here, to say thank you. Appreciate you giving us your time today and being our second guest here on Candid Conversations.
Thank you for having me.